Richard Cross, Michael Borky, Brian Haydad, and first guest of the day, Robbie Faulk, joins us right now. Covers Mississippi State for 24/7 Sports, and was in the ballpark earlier today. First of all, Robbie, good to see you, man. What's up?
Man, I'm so happy to be here. I don't know how I ended up over here, but last night, we had a taste at Taylor Grocery.
You got a bigger taste coming tonight.
Brian's cooking burn-ins or pork belly or something, and I just want to pinch a tent right over here in the grass.
Yeah.
And just
you don't even have to. We got tents here.
So we kind of eased into the dining situation for the week.
Yeah.
Deb gets all the credit last night. Deb Hewlett went with little Mississippi pot roast po' boys.
That's good.
And there was some fresh corn on the cob,
yes,
and a salad, and some nice cake to go along with that. And that was kind of, just kind of dipping your toes into the water. Tonight is big cooking night. As previously mentioned, Brian Haydad has been slaving away on the pork belly burnt ends.
I really have.
He has sweated a lot. It's been a 2-day process.
More than usual.
And that is going to be the appetizer for the evening. Those are going to come off on a big tray. Everybody can nibble on them, and then it's catfish night as well. So you'll get the full Taylor Grocery experience tonight.
Unfortunately, I have to go back to choir practice in Starkville, so I'm really upset about this.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I'm really just practice your scales here, man. Me.
I guess I could.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to have to make a couple of phone calls.
Old rugged cross, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I would. I believe I would get on the phone if I were you. Just saying. So let's talk. Just the quick run through the bracket. Yesterday, Florida beat Kentucky to eliminate the Wildcats and end their season. Alabama beat South Carolina. We don't know what that implication is for South Carolina from a hosting standpoint. UGA beat LSU, probably ending LSU's season, but you got to remember none of this happens in a vacuum, so it kind of depends on what happens here at the SEC tournament, what happens in other parts of the country as well. Fairfield losing today to Canisius was not a good thing for LSU, and then Ole Miss beat Auburn last night 7-4. So that got us to the start of day 2 of the double elimination portion of the tournament. Alabama, Tennessee playing right now. They're headed to extras. Georgia and Arkansas is the third game. Ole Miss and Vanderbilt in the nightcap. We got things started at 9:30 this morning with Florida and Mississippi State. So
Florida got things started.
They certainly did. Robbie, let's start out with on the mound for Mississippi State. The decision to start Brandon Smith in this game. We talked a good bit yesterday about maybe what Chris Lemonis was trying to figure out about Game 1 of the regional. Do you think that factored into the decision-making as to who was going to pitch today?
Could have been. I think a bigger factor is you're going to get 2 games no matter what, and you do want to be able to kind of stay on schedule a little bit. It'd be one thing for me if you're playing on Tuesday night and it might be your only game, but the fact that you're playing on a Wednesday and you know you're going to play on Thursday, I didn't have a problem with Brandon Smith trotting out there, and that's actually a guy that I've thought should be considered for that possible third starter because they just haven't been able to find someone in that position. And, Houston Harding's been a guy that they've brought up for that spot.
Right.
He just seems to be so much better in that long relief role, and we saw it against Alabama last week. And I just think it's much more effective to have a guy that's coming from the right side like Brandon Smith or Jackson Fristow and follow that up with a guy from the left side like Houston Harding. Because after you go through the lineup the first or second time and you bring in another guy that's giving you a different arm slot or a guy that's from another side, I think it can really disrupt some things. So I like that, but they just cannot find a guy that can nail down that third spot. And I think Lemonis wanted that to be Brandon Smith, and this was going to be a good audition for him, and he just didn't have it. They squared him up from the start. Gave up a solid single or solid double to start the ball game, and it just was downhill from there. I think he gave up 8 hits in 2 innings, and
got into the third inning credited with 2 innings of work. Did not record an out in the third. 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. He faced 16 hitters, gave up a home run as well. So it wasn't a great day for Brandon Smith. After that, it was Cam Tuller, and then Cade Smith, who worked 2 scoreless innings of relief, and then Eric Sarantola gave up a hit, did not allow a run. And then Hunt pitched at the end of the game, and with it already out of hand, it didn't go well. Florida scores 4 runs in the top of the 7th inning to get the 10-run rule in effect. 13-1 the final. I'm not so sure that maybe the bigger storyline, and obviously our focus is on Mississippi State, but this is a Florida team that outside of last weekend, where they got swept by Arkansas, the number 1 team in the country who nobody is arguing with how good they are, Florida had won 5 straight series, and this is a talented team that was the preseason number 1 team in the country.
They looked it today.
And they absolutely had 13 runs on 18 hits and really put themselves in a good spot because Hunter Barco threw a complete game. Because it was 7 innings, he goes the full 7 innings. They don't use anything out of the bullpen.
Right, and I mean, dating back to, I think it was right around that Ole Miss series when they played where they really didn't know what they were doing on the mound. I think Tommy Mace and Leftwich were a couple of guys that they felt really good about.
And Leftwich has turned into their top arm out of the bullpen.
Right, so it just seems like they're figuring it out. And I think it was in 2 years ago they had all those fantastic freshmen that they felt really good about. And some of those guys have moved up now and they're sophomores or juniors at this point. So you're not talking about a team that's just getting hot and they're just getting lucky out there. This is a legitimately talented team and a team that everybody thought was number 1 in the country preseason. So, I mean, this is no fluke. This is a team that's everything's starting to come together for them. They're playing good defense. They obviously swung the bats really well today. Wasn't overly impressed with their bats against Kentucky, but today they just came out on fire and then they got a really good start. So this is a team that's really dangerous, could make a run in this tournament and possibly get back into that national seed position.
So I think everybody was in agreement based on the sweep last weekend of Alabama. There really wasn't anything that Mississippi State could do, good or bad, this weekend, regardless of results. I mean, if they ran through and won the tournament, did they perhaps jump up to the number 3 national seed or the number 2 national seed? Yeah, maybe. If they come over here and go 0-2, do they potentially fall to the number 4 national seed or the number 5 national seed? Maybe. But it feels like they're still in about where they were, the position they were coming in, regardless of what happens tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Do you agree with that?
This is such a gray area right now because there's some teams that are kind of jockeying for position, but it's not that strong after 8. I mean, if you look at some of these resumes on the outside, and especially on the outside of hosting, and even some that are trying to make it in the tournament themselves, it's just not that strong right now, it feels like. Tennessee's struggling with Alabama. If they lose that ball game, I feel like State and Tennessee kind of have similar resumes, so I don't see State really dropping that far. But I just think that you can do a lot for yourself if you come out tomorrow and win that ball game. It's going to be tough to justify not giving a 20-win SEC team that's won 40 games in the regular season, not giving them a national seed. That's just hard to believe.
I agree with you. We get an interesting message, hey, Dad, on the C Spire text line. It says if Mississippi State loses tomorrow, they will not and should not be a national seed. The problem is we have no third starter and only one bullpen arm that we can 100% count on. Obviously, he's talking about Landon Sims.
Right.
There are 2 Landon Sims in the entire country. There's Landon Sims and there's Kevin Kopps, and that's it.
I disagree with
Taylor Broadway might be the next in that line in terms of closers.
Yeah, I disagree. I think State can trust Preston Johnson, and in normal situations they can trust their bullpen. Today was just not one of them. But
I think that said, trust Brandon Smith out of the bullpen.
Right? Yeah. When you say things like this, Mississippi State should, if they lose tomorrow, one game doesn't determine your season. You have to look at all 50, at that point, 55 games. And over a 55-game period where State, if they lose, would be 40-15, going 20-10 in the regular season. Of course they deserve to be a national seed.
Can I say something about, it feels like this happens every year and it's for most fan bases, but for Mississippi State fans, it just seems like a lot of emotion goes into these
talked about this
ball
a lot,
games. And especially in the Southeastern Conference tournament. And I went back and looked because I specifically remembered some bad games from some good teams.
Yeah.
2013, that Mississippi State team lost 16-8 to Vanderbilt, and it was really bad early on in that ball game. 2016, they came out and got run ruled by Florida. 2019, they came out and got run ruled
2 years ago,
against LSU.
Yeah.
So this happens almost every time, it seems like, for Mississippi State. They throw up an egg like this. It really feels like this team is okay. But they can't play like this moving forward.
No, I agree with that.
Bulldogs sitting at number 6 in the RPI. It's really a spot higher than that because you can take Fairfield out of the mix. We'll continue to kind of look at what the national seed picture looks like. Robbie, thanks for coming by. Great to see you. We'll be talking to you